Hello, Facebook friends. I'm coming to you tonight because I have something on my mind that I want to share with you, and it's been on my mind continuously. So that's my cue that I'm supposed to share it with you. Um, Last week, I talked to you guys about how experiencing the ability to be thankful changed our journey. And I want to be a little bit more specific about that tonight. Um, So, for those of you that don't know, Andrew was a Andrew was a corporate pilot, and he um, passed away on November 30th, 2018, along with two other people that was on his plane. And um, turns out, Tony and I live in a UPS flight path. We really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it before. However, afterwards, that's all we could hear was those planes flying over our house day and night after night after night, which created quite a bit of problems for me. But I can say, thankfully, due to um, the help that I had through two counselors, Jim Howard and Margie Oldham, whom I still see, I was able to work through some of that. But when I was able to get outside and go for a walk, and I would hear those UPS planes coming in the sky. And as I looked up at them, I would feel so full of anger and bitterness, grief of a dream that was lost. Just hung over me like a wet blanket, made me sick to my stomach. Just the sound of them coming from a distance would trigger those emotions, and I couldn't see it any other way at that point. Just to share with you um, how the rest of our life looked, it was very difficult. Look into the eyes of Tony. We've been married 37 years in a couple weeks, and the pain that I could see in his eyes of just the loss of his only son, no one to share dad and son things with, the loss of a life lived together, being able to pick up the phone, to share life, to talk about whatever project they were into, just living life together, growing old together. When I looked into Sarah's eyes, the pain that I saw, the loss of her only sibling. They were best friends. We grew up in the country, and there wasn't anybody else. So through the good, bad, and the ugly, they just had each other. They went to college together. They did life together. Just seeing the loss in her eyes of knowing that that was all gone. Holding Jack and Soph and feeling the deep guttural pain that they would never feel the touch, the love of their father was almost more than I could bear. Watching Erica grieve, 29-year-old widow with a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, losing the love of her life, all of the lost dreams, just grief within the grief of not being able to raise your children together that you brought into this world. Seeing her and all of it, just through your own reasoning, you can't understand why, and the heaviness of it, you just get bitter. And I remember when I started to be thankful, finding those things to be thankful for, like I talked about last week, began to change my perspective little by little, the lens that I was looking through. I was able to see things a little differently For example, when I was able to get outside and go for a walk, I could hear those UPS planes coming. And I decided that I was going to be thankful for the fact that Andrew was to his place in his career where he was ready for that. You know, I'm thankful for all the mentors in his life that helped shape his decisions to help him be where he was. I'm thankful that he was a goal setter and that he lived his dream and he set goals to get there. I'm so proud of him for that. I'm so proud that he came home as part of the step in that plan. And I'm so proud that he was at a place in his career where he was ready for that. You know, I'm thankful for a husband that loves me. You know, marriages really suffer when you lose a child. But I'm thankful for him because he stood beside me. We stood beside each other. We prayed together. We supported each other. We gave each other grace. I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for Sarah because Sarah led us during this time. She found a place that she could lead from, and she did it. She did so much for all of us. Wasn't easy. She had a newborn. Her husband was in residency. It wasn't easy. But she chose to do that for her family. She led us in a very dark time. And Erica, I'm so proud of her. Erica had to make a choice. She chose to lean on Jesus. Because of all the love and the prayers and the support that she received, she's in the place that she's at now. And I'm so thankful that she chose Jesus. And I'm so thankful for all the people who poured into her life and into the children's lives. And Erica has met someone. God has brought someone into her life. And we are so thankful. And we support her 100%. We're so happy for her. It's so good to see the sparkle back in her eyes and the anticipation of the future and what's ahead. You see, this is what I've learned. Tonight, when I was on my walk on that same hill, I watched the sun drop down behind those trees. And I remember a time in my life when I didn't think the sun was ever going to shine again. But I'm here to tell you tonight that joy can coexist with pain. Do I understand it? No, I don't, but I'm living it. You see, when I hold Jack and Soph now, I'm so thankful that Andrew's legacy is here with us, and I get to be a part of it. So very thankful. I want to share a resource with you guys tonight. Isolation in grief is not good. That's what you want to do. You just want to find a hole and go get in it and stay there because you don't have the energy to do anything else. But I want to encourage you tonight and tell you that if you don't manage your grief and your loss, it will manage you. And I wanted to give you a resource. Griefshare.org is a 13-week class that meets, and it helps you manage your grief. Is it easy to sit in a group of people for 13 weeks that's experienced loss? No. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Because nobody understands your grief like someone who's walked the road. And I so encourage you to reach out for that. You know, Erica led our family into Grief Share. She went first. Tony and I followed. She even facilitated her own grief group. If you Google it, griefshare.org, and put in your zip code, you will find a Grief Share group near you. Now, I'm not sure if there's any meeting in person. However, I know that there are Zoom groups that are meeting. Our church is one of them. You can go to northside.org, northside.com, and you can find a Grief Share group there that's going to meet, I believe, starts in August. So I'd like to encourage you to make a choice, because I want to lovingly tell you that to not make a choice to get help and be healthy is still making a choice. It's worth it. I'm so glad that we did Grief Share. In fact, we did it twice along with Erica. And I want to mention tonight that grief and loss can destroy marriages and it can destroy families. The first part of our story was my grief looking through a lens and my own understanding. Trying to figure it all out in my own head didn't get me anywhere. The second half of my story is what it looks like when you walk with the one who's already been where you're going. He doesn't promise easy. In fact, he says life on this earth is going to be hard, but I will walk with you every step of the way. And if you need me to carry you, I'll carry you, and I'll see it through to the end, because he promises I'll never leave you or forsake you. So I encourage you tonight to make a choice, because the sun will shine again. Joy can exist alongside of pain. And I'm an example of that. I'm living that today. So I want to encourage you to look up griefshare.org. Don't isolate. That's a scary, lonely place to be. And it can take you down a very unhealthy road. It is a choice. So I encourage you tonight to look that up, griefshare.org. Thank you for spending some time with me tonight. And I pray with the bottom of my heart that you guys, something I've said, may help you along in your journey. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Good night.